Ok, buonasera a tutti. Questa è la seconda serata internazionale dedicata ai tram nel mondo. Questa sera abbiamo Peter Ehrlich dagli Stati Uniti d'America. Penso che non abbia bisogno di presentazioni perché è un fotografo di trasporti noto internazionalmente. È stato a San Francisco 30 anni alla guida di tram, ha vissuto tutta la prima esperienza della fondazione della Market Street Railway, quindi insomma direi che questo gli dà parecchie chance di fare una presentazione molto interessante. Okay, now I'm back in English. I am Roberto Cambursano, president of ATTS, Historic Tramways Society of Torino, Italy. I extend a warm welcome to all participants, especially those who follow us from abroad.
Benvenuto.
I am happy, benvenuto, yes. I am happy to see that they are growing more and more in number. We arrived today at the second appointment in this cycle of video conferences on the Zoom platform. As you already know, they are dedicated to tramways and other means of transport in an international perspective. Tonight's presentation will be conducted by Peter Ehrlich from the USA, and he is well known worldwide as an appreciated transit photographer, but above all, he can boast a very long experience in the operation of San Francisco tramways, or streetcars, as they say there. Actually, I think we all look at the Market Street Railway as the best model for historic tramways. Before giving him the floor, I inform you that at the end of the presentation, there is a space for any questions. So those who want to ask a question are asked to use the raised hand icon found in the commands at the bottom right. Well, the word goes now to Peter. Peter, it's to you.
Okay, benvenuto. Buonasera. I speak very little Italian, however. I have translated most of my text slides into Italian, as you can see on this second slide. I might add that the F line influenced a lot of other transit systems to start their own heritage tramways, including GTTS in Torino with Roberto. Big influence. So anyway, I'm going to present this in two parts. I had too much material to combine into just one part. So at a later date, I will present the second part, which will be mostly Fisherman's Wharf. But for now, we will concentrate on what happened before the F line began and the Market Street portion of the F line. So San Francisco opened its new F line on September 1st, 1995. It was the first new streetcar line in the city since 1932 and the first to use heritage streetcars or trams. And here is the opening day parade. Took place on September 1st, 1995. Those of you who are familiar with Blackpool note that the leader of the procession is a boat tram from Blackpool. San Francisco now has two of them. Okay. We were not the first city to operate a heritage fleet. The first city was New Orleans. Oh, I'll leave the text slides up so those of you who read Italian can read it. Okay, this is a New Orleans slide taken in 1972 at where St. Charles turns onto South Carrollton Avenue, and the cars were built in 1924. Here we are on Canal Street in 2004. New Orleans was just about to restart tram service on Canal after a 40-year absence. Major achievement. And as you ride the New Orleans car, you get to see interesting sights such as this one. Okay. Another system which qualifies is Boston's Mattapan Ashmont high-speed trolley line, which opened in 1928 because it's home to the last active 1944-45 vintage PCC trams. Here's a 2004 shot when they're, no, earlier, there's 1998, when they were still painted green. This is at Milton Station. And this is taken just a few months ago. I went to Boston, and it's coming up the incline to Ashmont Station. Beautiful fall foliage. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Bene. The first city in the modern era was Detroit, 1976. Didn't last, it only lasted until 2003. Here's one of the open air Lisbon trams. Next came Seattle with its waterfront streetcar using ex-Melbourne W2 trams. I believe where they have a they have a couple of W2s running in Christchurch, right, Brent?
Yes, that's correct, Peter.
Okay. And this is at the south end of the line, taken around 2003, 2 years before the line was pulled up. Then came San Jose, which instituted service on its light rail system, which had just opened a year before. And unfortunately, like many light rail systems which have featured vintage cars, they became kind of redundant and fell out of use. But anyway, here's a shot of Milan 2001 at the San Jose Civic Auditorium. Another place was Portland, which instituted 4 Council Crest replicas using PCC technology. As far as I know, these are the only wooden PCCs ever built. Here are 2 of the Portland cars running. The car on the left is on the original Max line, goes over the steel bridge into the east side of Portland, and the car on the right is on the Portland streetcar system, which uses modern cars mostly. Then On the other hand, there are two cities that have opened vintage tramways, and they continue to operate today. One of them is in Dallas. The other one is in Memphis. The Memphis system was shut down for 4 years after two fires destroyed a couple pair of cars. But some of the remaining cars were rebuilt for service. Oops, I've run out of room. Dallas's fleet is a mixed group, mostly Dallas cars, but also cars from Portugal and PCCs from Brussels and Toronto. And Memphis uses Oporto and Melbourne cards. Here's a W2 running on the riverfront line. The riverfront line at the moment is not in service, right? But the Main Street line is. So basically what made San Francisco's F-line different from all these other operations is that it was conceived as an integral part of the transit system. In other words, you could use passes or transfers interchangeably with other light rail lines and buses and trolley coaches. Serves neighborhoods, civic center, downtown retail stores, the financial district, the waterfront, and Fisherman's Wharf. Before the pandemic hit, the F-line carried 24,000 riders a day. And it was a battle to get the F-line going. When the cars, the first cars, when the first system quit in 1982, the tracks were eventually going to be pulled up, but they were saved with a lot of influential citizens working with government. And San Francisco, in reality, was no different from every other American city that wanted to get rid of streetcars. So another factor involved in San Francisco was the approval of the BART rapid transit system, which was a regional wide system originally built to cover 71 miles of track, and it was approved in 1962, and BART actually opened up in 1972. Am I going too fast for those of you reading in Italian? So Muni intended to put its Market Street streetcar lines to run in the top level of the Market Street subway. And that did not begin until February of 1980. However, the subway was closed on weekends, so the PCCs had to continue to operate for 2 more years until September 19th, 1982, which was a day which was very sad because I was an operator in 1982. Here's a general map of the Muni system. I've identified the lines that are named by letters such as the K, L, and M. My mouse seems to, the K, L, and M goes along the spine of the city. The N Judah goes out here. The L Taraval, K Ingleside, M Ocean View, J Church, and then I put letter codes for lines that were still in existence between 1950 and 1956. Also, I added the T 3rd Street line. So KLM and the N, the L, the K, the M, the J, the T line, the old B Geary, which is one of Muni's first lines, and the C California, and the D Union Street, Van Ness, and the H Potrero, which ran out to after the Muni took over Market Street Railway in 1944. It operated all the way out to the southeastern part of the city. And the old F Stockton, the original F line, ran on Chestnut Street and Columbus Avenue and down to 4th and Market, 4th and Townsend, where you could take trains on the SP all the way to Los Angeles. Okay, moving right along. Here's a picture of what Market Street looked like in 1940. Here's a picture of a car on the C California line, which operated on the B line as far as 2nd Avenue and then went over to California Street to continue out into the Richmond district. This is an original A-class car built in 1913, one Muni's first series of trams. The end of the B line was at Ocean Beach Playland, you know, roller coasters, Ferris wheels, Laughing Sally, and other attractions. And this is taken just after the end of operation on the B line. PCC 1040 was the last PCC built for American Transit, and it still survives. Here's a PCC 1007 at Market Mason, 1957. Car 1 celebrating the 50th anniversary of Muni, 1962. It's at the Church and Market. The building in the background is no longer there. It's part of the Safeway shopping supermarket complex. Here's an image that I just got. Shows a PCC threading its way through BART construction of Embarcadero Station. Here's a shot of 1000 series baby 10 PCCs passing construction of the Muni Metro subway at Market in Valencia. Here's a night shot of a PCC at Powell Street. Here's a next Toronto car working the K line. They got 11 of these in 1973, and only 9 of them ran, and most of them were scrapped 5 years after they went into service. The replacement for the surface lines where it's the Muni Metro subway. This is Embarcadero Station when it was new, 1980. This is the last day of surface PCC operation. I was working the M Judah line that day. And here we are at Judah and 16th Avenue. The church in the background is a very famous landmark called the St. Anne's of the Sunset. Here's another last day PCC shot. So fortunately, there was no rush to pull the tracks up. However, this is in 1982, the cable car system had to be shut down for a complete 19-month reconstruction project. While this was going on, a lot of people got inside and outside of government and Muni got together to try and drum up support for a historic trolley festival in 1983. So they persevered. The mayor was very enthusiastic, Dianne Feinstein. She's now a United States Senator. The Board of Supervisors or city councilors were skeptical. Trams were brought in from several countries, and many San Francisco based cars were spruced up and put into service. And the route was the route that ran from
It's 3:30.
Trans Bay Terminal to 17th and Castro. Of course, it used Church Street to get around Market because of the Muni Metro construction. So the Trolley Festival was launched in 1983. And here's a car from Hamburg, Germany, called the Red Baron on the J line. And a Porto car working the El Taraval. Every trolley festival, and there ultimately were 5 trolley festivals, had a photo day. So this day in 1983, the 3 Muni boxcars or iron monsters lined up at Mint Yard. See, what it seems that's happening is not all of my images are on one preview. So I can let me see if I can I can't go back. Anyway, Trolley Festival was intended to be a one-time event, but it's proved so popular that 1984 festival was held despite the return of the cable cars. With Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, the cars did run every day while the Democratic National Convention was in town in July. Uh, 1984 featured 2 new pieces of equipment. One of them was an open car from Veracruz, Mexico, nicknamed the Mexican jumping bean. Boy. Let me stop this for a minute, because what this particular preview selection is doing, it's missing a lot of slides, and I have not been able to figure out why. So let me go back into my system and see if I can relaunch everything.
Okay.
Okay, one. Oh yeah, okay. I've already found several slides that were missing this first time around. This is a 1947, we're backtracking. This is a 1947 shot showing the removal of the, eventual removal of the outer tracks of the roar of the four. This is a shot from the first day of the 1983 Trolley Festival. Can you see this, everybody?
No,
No?
we're still on your
No,
original.
sorry, Peter, can't.
We see
can't
the
see-
cover.
Huh?
The cover. We see the cover. Cover.
The color?
No, the cover.
The cover.
Yeah.
We only see the first slide.
You only see the first slide.
First slide.
Uh, Okay, let me work my, okay, can you see this one?
No.
Still on slide one, Peter.
What?
Still
I'm
on
still-
slide one.
Still on slide one. Rats. Okay, I think what I'm going to have to do is stop the share for a minute and then reboot. Not the computer, but the whole system. Okay, all right. So can you see that?
No.
No.
Again, it's like the first time we see all of the small pictures.
Okay. Hang on. Okay, stop share. Share screen. First slide. Second slide. No.
No. You have
Nothing.
to repeat the sequence that you have made before.
New share. No?
No.
Okay. So stop share. Mario. I see Mario. I see Alan Murray.
Yeah.
I see you.
Okay.
Okay, now.
I see you too.
Okay. Start. Share screen. Do you see this first slide?
No.
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 Huh. I'll be doggone. Okay. Reactions. Share screen. Can you see this?
Yes.
You can
Yes.
see it.
Now
All
it
right.
works. It's working.
Yes.
Let's. I see. I clicked on the wrong. Let's see if this will bring back. No, it's still dropping images.
Now we see all right, eh?
Hmm?
Now it's okay.
Now you can. Okay, this is
Okay, it's okay.
1947. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, 1947. What they were doing is they're putting new tracks on the. They were actually about to rip up the old tracks on the outside, but they had to use the outside tracks while they were laying new inside tracks. Okay, here's the opening day parade of the 1983 Trolley Festival. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, here's another opening day parade shot. Oporto 122, by the way, is now in Dallas. The other Oporto car, 189, and the Hamburg car. Anyway, now we're back at 1984. Let's see if I can. This year in 1984, single end cars went out the N Judah line instead of going out the J Church line. We added 3 new trams, Milan Peter Witt 1834, and a Veracruz car, which you've seen. There's a Veracruz car. Still dropping pictures. Anyway, in 1985, a third festival was held. This one had 7-day service and ran from May to October. Trolley fleet had some changes. Muni PCC 1006, which debuted in 1984, was made a true double ender again. 1040 got painted green and cream with wings, and Muni got its own boat tram. Okay, here's some scenes from, am I going too fast for you Italian folks?
No, it's okay. Go on.
All right, here's Porto 189 in its third color scheme, yellow, turning the corner at Church and DeBose. Oh, maybe what's happening is that all the pictures will be presented after all the titles get run through.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's this is a 1983 shot of the first boat tram, number 226. Wait a minute, no, this is 228 at 20th and
It's
Church.
3:45.
Did we skip? That's 1986. 1986 was different because they were able to turn single end cars using a Y installed at 17th and Noe. Well, let's hope that all the pictures come in after the titles. 1987 festival was the last one. Muni got its own Melbourne W2 tram, which is, whoops, it's not a W3. Sorry, Brent. It's also featured a car from Moscow, Orel, Russia, named the streetcar named Desire for Peace. You know, it was still the Cold War era in America. Here's a shot in 1987 of a Melbourne tram passing behind a fountain at the United Nations Plaza. And the one feature that stood 1987 out from all the others was the Embarcaderos demonstration, using Oporto 189 and Market Street Railway 578. They ran from the ferry building to Pier 39. And it was so successful that it helped gear up support for an extension of the F line to Fisherman's Wharf, which would happen 13 years after the F line opened up. Okay, I was For some of the pictures what I had to do was take snapshots out of my F-line book, San Francisco's F-line, and post them this way because I seem to have lost the original pictures. Anyway, these show construction of the F-line from Church and Market to Castro Street, and between Van Ness and Church and Market. And the palm trees were put in, a little controversial. Palms really do not belong in San Francisco. This alludes to the fact that after the trolley festivals ended, Market Street Railway was able to support some mini trolley festivals lasting up to about 1993. And this slide depicts how the cars for the F-line were selected. They chose Philadelphia cards, and 2133 was brought out to develop specs, and I got to run the car. With a bunch of big wigs on board, we went out the L line, and I opened up the door at a stop, and a woman tried to get on, and I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, we're not in service. We're visiting from Philadelphia." This is a shot of a car on the N line doing an NJ shuttle service prior to the opening of the F line, 1995. Here's a shot also in shuttle service passing a dentist's office on the J line. Okay, seems that this is what happened. It's that the text slides somehow got out of order. Anyway, here's opening day again, September 1st, 1995. This is taken on September 3rd, 95. September 10th, I believe, no, September 5th. This is the Pacific Electric car. The image is what we call high definition, high dynamic range image. Brings out the color more extensively. Here we are at Market and 12th Street, Franklin, September 10th. Here's a view looking down from Crocker Plaza at Market in New Montgomery, the Brooklyn car, Baltimore car at Market in DuBose. This is in 1996. A 1834 was pulling out. Of course, guess who the operator was? Me. So I managed to get a shot of a Breda passing it. This is an interesting shot. This shows Muni double end torpedo 1007 in kind of a transitional paint job. Originally, 1007 was painted the same colors as the Bredas that you just recently saw. And then it was not a popular color scheme. So Muni decided to paint it to represent Philadelphia Suburban Transportation Company, Red Arrow. So they had to do some primer painting in advance. Here's 1010, another torpedo, Mark and Guerrero. This is Milan 1834, which we got in 1984, and it's passing New Orleans 952, which had just been added to the fleet in 1998. Here's 1834 again at Market and UN Plaza. And again at Mark and Sanchez. There's 1007 now in Red Arrow livery. 1060. This is a preview image of the next time show. This is taken in 2019 after Pacific Electric 1061 had been repainted in more accurate livery. Okay, few shots showing construction of the Fisherman's Wharf extension. Part 2 will be presented at a later time. I'm going to embellish the show then, and hopefully make it work. Okay. Anyway, these next scenes seem to be of opening month of operation on the Fisherman's Wharf extension. 1054 at base at Sansom Street, Embarcadero and Sansom. 1015 on the second day of service at Ferry Plaza. As you can see, construction is still ongoing, but the line was open for service. Here's one of the 10 Ventotto that Muni got in 1998 for F-line Fisherman's Wharf service. This is before it was renumbered, 1893. And there's 1793 again. This is around Broadway at Fisherman's Wharf. Two Ventotto passing at the near the ferry building. There's a Cincinnati 1057, a Milan car, and Muni 1051 at the Jones and Beach terminal. Okay, opening day parade. Okay, let's see what we missed. Okay, here's a shot of riding a New Orleans car. You get to see interesting sights like this. Boston, 1989. Boston in 2004, I believe. Coming up the incline into Ashmont Station. Seattle, waterfront line. Seattle at the Broad Street end of the line. The steam locomotive is Southern Pacific 4449. which is on a series of excursions in Washington State, returning back to Portland. This is San Jose's opening day in 1988, November 18th, 1988. Both cars were chicken coops for a long time and were lovingly restored by the San Jose Trolley Corporation. Here's another shot of Santa Clara Interurban Railway number 1, passing through the San Jose Transit Mall at night. And Milan 2001 was made a double end Peter Witt, like what Brooklyn had. This is Portland 511 in downtown Portland, running on the Max line. Again, Portland car 513 on the right, on the left is I'm sorry, 511 on the left is on the Max line, 513 on the right is on the Portland streetcar line. Here's a Portland streetcar at Portland State University. This is Dallas in 1990, Melbourne 369, and Dallas original Stone and Webster car 186.
It's 4 o'clock.
Here's another shot of Dallas. This is a fisheye view of its Bernie number 6636 turning on the turntable at Uptown City Place. And Dallas has a PCC from Brussels, number 7169. Memphis Porto car at Main and Poplar. This shot was taken in 2018 after Memphis reopened following following fires on 2 cars. Riverfront line at Union Street. Okay, this is a shot of Transbay Terminal Loop as it looked in 1946 in San Francisco. The Muni cars used the track closest to the terminal. That track was ripped up shortly after this picture was taken. And the remaining 2 tracks, one was for regular service and the other was for putting cars that broke down. Or it was also used to pass other cars. Okay, this is a Market Street Railway car taken over by Muni working the 14 Mission line, which terminated at the Ferry Building 1940. That line quit in 1949. Here's a Muni K-type turning at the Ferry Loop in 1947. Car 19. On the C line, which shared the B line out to 2nd Avenue. 3 B types at the end of the El Taraval line, 1948. This is car 9 on the original F line, F Stockton, 1 week before the line was converted to trolley bus, 1951. Ocean Beach Loop at the Playland. After the last day of operation, the group did a charter out here with 1040, the last PCC built in America. 1007, double end torpedo had been made into a single end car. 1957. 1958, this was taken in March 1958, and these iron monsters would be retired 2 months later. This is at Market in Castro. 1962, 50th anniversary of Munich, car 1. This is a around 1967. This is the east portal of the Twin Peaks Tunnel before Muni Metro construction happened. It was taken in 1970. Here are cars on the K and the M line at St. Francis Circle. Downtown around that Market 9th. This is taken 1971, I believe. The trolley bus was built by Twin Coach. Here we are again, threading the needle at the Market Fremont, 1971. Embarcadero Station was under construction at that time. Market in Valencia, Muni Metro construction. Downtown Powell Street. This is car torpedo number 1012. This is at what is now the terminal of the F line, and it was also the terminal during the trolley festival years. 1012 was scrapped in 1979, unfortunately. There's a next Toronto car. This is a downtown Market in Mason. Transbay Terminal was the turning loop, the inner terminal. It was used until the end of service on March 2000, when the F line was extended to Fisherman's Wharf. Here's a shot and taken in 1975 at the old West Portal before the entire area was rebuilt as West Portal Station for Muni Metro. Here's a shot, another shot showing construction of Castro Street Station. This is, was dubbed the Collingwood Elevated. Downtown, again, probably this is taken about 1975. 1978 at 8th and Market. Muni Metro opened up in 1980. The K line didn't begin operating in Muni Metro until 4 months after the first line, the N Judah, went underground. Here Here we are at Van Ness Station. And PCC still operated on weekends. As you can see, they're rather battered by this time. This is the third market. This is the last day of PCC's at the west end of the Sunset Tunnel. June and 16th Avenue, also the last day. This is an excellent running car, believe it or not. What was interesting is that 1970, between 1976 and 1978, 30 of these ex-St. Louis cars were repainted Lander colors of two-tone orange and white. And however, most of them, what happened, they were rebuilt or got a mini rehab, but most of them actually were scrapped before the end of service in 1982, while these original cars still in Muni wings lasted until the very end. Okay, here's a last day PCC shot at the UN Plaza. Car 1 was running revenue service on the J line on several weekends in 1982, including the very last weekend. So this is taken on September 19th, 1982. This is a shot of Boeing 1213, which was assigned to trolley vessel service in 1983, coming out of the Eureka portal of Twin Peaks Tunnel. And two other cars, 1704, its Muni number was 1128, and behind is PCC 1040 in two-tone orange and white. This is 1704 represents St. Louis. The two Oporto cars mix it up with Boeing LRVs at DuBose Junction. There's 1704 passing 1213 in the 1983 trolley festival, and 1213 again with car 1 at 17th and Castro. The Boeing was not a very popular car in F-line service. 178, the K-type Iron Monster leased from the Western Railway Museum for a number of years. Mark in 8. Portland 503 was built in 1903, and it was used in 1983, also 1985 trolley festivals. 1040 is working trolley festival service running out the J line, coming inbound through Dolores Park at 18th Street, Hamburg 3557 at Church and Market. And one of the interesting aspects of the trolley festival was that management found new ways of adding interest to the service. Here is Muni B-type 130, which had been made a wrecker after its passenger retirement in 1958, and was returned to passenger carrying capability in 1983. and it's at Metro Shops. This is taken June of 1983. Here it is at its coming out party in July of 1983, freshly painted in blue and gold. Blue and gold were Muni's 1939 colors. And then all the people involved who helped return 130 to service are in the picture here. Here we have at Market in the Boos, the first boat tram 226, which was leased from the Western Railway Museum, and the Hamburg 3557. Oporto 122 with an LRV across the street. There were a couple of times during the year when Muni brought the vintage cars out to other lines so that other citizens in the city could sample them. It was photo day. Every trolley festival had a photo day. 3 iron monsters posed. And then car 130 and Oporto 189 ran out the Enjuta. Here we are at Ocean Beach. Inbound passing a beautifully restored San Francisco Victorian house at Carl and Stanton Streets. And this is a, after the 1983 festival ended, Muni kept running
It's 4:15.
Streetcars on weekends for both 1983 and 1984. Here are the 2 PCCs posing at 30th and Church on the J line. Opening day 1984, 1040, still in 2-tone orange lander paint, followed by 1213 and a historic trolley coach. We tried out Sacramento Northern Bernie number 62, which is from the Western Railway Museum, but it failed the test because it rode on flanges. Its railroad profile wheels were no match for Muni's worn out girder rail. There is a single track project going on Church Street, so cars had to negotiate this portable crossover. This is 1984. 1984 at the during the Democratic National Convention. Motorman waves to the photographer. Here we are showing car 1 waiting for 178 to bump across the crossover. This is a, I believe this is a 1984 shot. Market and second Santam. That would mean this would be the first boat. Yeah. Okay, here we are at the 11th Street Y with the Veracruz car, the Mexican jumping bean, and Milan 1834 coming into the Y. First year of operation for both of them in San Francisco. 3557 in Melbourne, W2 648, another tram leased from the Western Railway Museum at Transbay Terminal. Milan 1834. This is a, I'd like to say this is a 1984 shot. Okay, this is at Market and Grant. This is December 30th, 1984. This is the last year that 1040 had the two-tone orange. It was repainted green and cream with wings for the 1985 festival. Here we are, Mayor Dianne Feinstein piloting the first car in the 1985 parade. And she's now United States Senator from California. The theme of the 1985 festival was Joyride, and you can see the term on the ad worn by car 130 as 178 turns the corner at Church and DuBois. Now this is Market Street Railway 578. It was built in 1896 and is the oldest streetcar in public transit service in the world. Now, people will quibble with me for saying that because they think the cars in the Manx electric are even older, which is true. However, the Manx Electric Railway is not a public transit system. It's, I should say, not a publicly owned transit system. It's privately owned. Anyway, it's this is at the Powell Market, where the Powell and Mason and Powell and Hyde cable cars begin. Alternate Fridays in 1985, we had movable music on board the boat tram. Musicians from the Red Garter Band would entertain the folks. And as you can see, the Portland 503 was back in 1985. Car 1 looking south on Sanchez Street shows the terrain that makes San Francisco famous. Melbourne 648 was working the N line. This is a view from the UC Medical Center garage at the Irving and Arguello on the N line. This is Oporto 189 taking the crossover at Judah and 48th Avenue. And okay, this is what I was alluding to. 1985 was the only time ever that a two-car train of Boeings operated on the surface of Market Street with trolley poles. This is a charter that was held on August 25th, 1985. And the train here had just come out of the subway. And here we see it going inbound at Market and DuBois, a high dynamic range image. And here is a shot that defies the logic of time. Not only were the Boeings not in service when the trolley coach was, but the trolley coaches predated the subway. Trolley coach in question is number 776 over here. Anyway, it's his third Market. And of course, the opportunity to shoot a special two-car modern train passing a regular service vintage car was better than I had hoped. Okay, in 1986, Muni got another new tram. This one's from Kobe, Hiroshima. This is on the, when it was still, had been carried across the Pacific Ocean by the Asia Maru freighter. And it was unloaded and put in service for the 1986 Trolley Festival Parade, again with Mayor Feinstein operating the car. 1986 was the first year that a new Y track had been installed at 17th and Noe, allowing all the cars to run on a single route. Here's 3557 proceeding inbound after after it had gone up to 17th Castro after negotiating the Y. 1834 at the terminal. 1040 and car 1 pass at 17th and Noe. The motorman is throwing the switch to turn into the Y. And he'll use his backup controller to back up 17 Castro. 1006 was a double end car. It's waiting for 1834 to clear the terminal. Here's the boat tram on the Y at Noe Street. 1040 and now in original Muni green and cream with wings livery at Transbay Terminal. There's a 1986 shot at Market 2nd, car 1. Car 1 was built in 1912. The boat tram at Market and Laguna outbound. Here's another shot of car 1 on Market Street showing the very intensive traffic, and you can see Twin Peaks in the background. A quiet moment at Mint Yard with only the boat tram in the yard, and 189 is coming outbound. Japanese car 578, we had to add a letter J to the end of it to distinguish it from the other 578, which was nicknamed 578S. Anyway, this is at Church and 17th Street. That's Everett Middle School in the background. Using, it was a single track operation through Mint Yard, and 1006 is taking the crossover outside of the yard to continue inbound. Okay, now we're in 1987. 1987 was when Muni got car 106 from, which is a Moscow Orel tram built in 1912, and it's on its way to its dedication ceremony at Transbay Terminal. Very foggy day. There's a 4th and Market and Grant. And here we have, let's see, on the left we have General Manager Bill Stead. Next to him is Bruce Bernhard. Next to him is Maury Klebold, who's kind of the godfather of the F line. He was one of the people who really made things happen. Next to him is Mayor Feinstein, and the gentleman reading is the Consul General of Russia or Soviet Union. Anyway, so all this is a Transbay Journal, January 27th, 1987. And now it's going back towards back out to the car barn. 106 led the parade in 1987. Here we see it at Market and Goff. Japanese car 5 Kobe Hiroshima 578 578J at Market and Second. Oporto 189 in its third color scheme, which is red and green, at Church and 17th Street. Look down from Carca Plaza at the Russian car at Second and Market. Theory of 1040, Muni 1040 PCC, passing historic Marmon Harrington trolley bus 776, which is in Muni's historic fleet at Venice and Market. Here's a star filter shot of car 1 at Mint Yard. Basically, what this is a strap on the outside of the lens filter that creates this star appearance. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay.
It's 4:30.
Okay. The last day of the 1987 Trolley Festival was kind of sad, but with the realization that things were going to happen and there was going to be a permanent surface streetcar line coming, we got through it. So this is the last day procession back to the car barn, October 16th, 1987. The parade again at Market and DeBose. Now we come to the Embarcadero State demonstration. This is what proved without a doubt that an extension of electric rail service to Fisherman's Wharf would be not only viable, but necessary. The service produced probably the best revenue to expense ratio in Muni's history. Two cars, 578S and 189, were used for service. Here's 578S under the Embarcadero Freeway, which would later be demolished because it was earthquake damaged. Anyway, at the ferry building, was September 26, October 1987. Fridays and Saturdays only. Here we have Oporto 189 heading. It's heading towards Pier 39. It's using a diesel generator for power. Here we have the two cars passing under Coy Tower at Green Street. Uh, 578S alone, same location. This is an Embarcadero and Battery. Uh-oh, my internet connection is unstable. that's not good. Okay, this is at Pier 39. As you can see, the crowd is, the car is completely crowded, and yet people still want to ride the car. That's how good, how popular this service was. Ran only on Fridays and Saturdays for 4 weekends at the end of the 1987 festival. After hours, Maury Klebold and a bunch of us took the car out as far as the rails would go into Fisherman's Wharf. Okay, now we come to some of the construction of markets, reconstruction of the Market Street tracks. Here is 1006 testing out a new crossover at 5th and Market, 1988. 106 and 130 were on their way to test out a curve and switch installation at 1st and Market, 1989. This is the 75th anniversary of Muni in 1987, December 28th, 1987. A lineup of cars at the Transbay Terminal. And this is interesting. This is a celebration of 100 years of electric traction in San Francisco in 1992. Notice that both cars are heading inbound. So for a brief time, cars were able to recreate what it was like to have them side by side running up and down Market Street in one direction. There was a crossover at 1st and Market Street to allow the cars on the outbound track to cross back inbound. But who cares? This is a great celebration. This is a day after Thanksgiving in 1990. And Russian car. This is 1704 on the N line during a mini trolley festival held on certain holiday weekends between 1991 and 1994. Same weekend, car 1040 approaching Judah 9th Avenue. Okay, this is Osaka Hankei 151. This is a car that is supposed to be rebuilt to be put back in service very soon. The contract to rebuild it has not been advertised yet. There are other cars in the contract as well. But anyway, this car was built in 1918. Here we are at another mini trolley festival day. Was 1:30 in 1834 on the J line at Church and Market. Inbound at Judah and Irving and 4th Avenue. This is the Z line, which was operated only on Labor Day weekend, 1991, with 3 cars running hourly all the way from the Transbay Terminal to the zoo, using the F, J, K, and L lines. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay. Hello, Michael.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm back. Okay, I'm back.
Here we are.
Yeah. Okay. Earlier, I alluded to the cars that Muni got for the F line. Maintenance people looked at cars in Boston, Philadelphia, and Toronto, as well as cars in their own stockpiled fleet for rebuilding for the F line. And they chose cars from Philadelphia. Here is a Philadelphia PCC on Route 23, approaching Market Street, passing the old Reading Terminal building in 1982. And this is car 2122, became Muni 1055. 14 of these were purchased, actually 15, including this one, 2133, which is a guinea pig or test car to develop specifications for the remanufacture contract. Here it is passing 1006 at Market in Van Ness, 1990, August 31st, 1990. And I got to run the car out the El Taraval line during one of its test runs, and a lot of bigwigs were on board. Bigwigs and rail fans were on board the car, and we got up to 15th Avenue in Taraval, and a woman tried to get on the car, and I opened the doors and I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, we're not in service. We're visiting from Philadelphia." Everybody on the car laughed. But the woman just shrugged her shoulders and walked back to the curb. 1055 was the first of the rehabbed PCCs to arrive in San Francisco. It's painted up in Philadelphia green and cream with a 1955 livery. And people wondered why was it in this livery? Well, because the Muni, I guess public relations department decided, why not represent cities that ran the PCC all across America? So that's what happened. They all came in different liveries. So 1055 was Philadelphia. 1054 was another Philadelphia livery. This one, 1938, silver, blue, and cream, affectionately known as Philadelphia cream cheese. Anyway, the procedure was always the same. It was towed off the flatbed truck by Muni 130, which had done a lot of towing cars when it was a wrecker. So this is a normal procedure. The last three cars to arrive were Brooklyn 1053, Los Angeles 1052, and Boston 1059. I might add that some of the color schemes were not really accurate, and the reason for that was Muni had to use what they had in its own paint stock. Later on, when another order of PCCs came in 2002, more paints were available. And the 3 trailers that brought those 3 PCCs were then taken over to Pier 72 to pick up the 3 torpedoes, which was part of the rebuild contract. Here's 1007 about to leave for its turn at being rebuilt. Each PCC had to go through an extensive burn-in period. Here's 1060 coming out of West Portal Station. 1060 is, at that time, represented Newark city subway. The color gray was not accurate, but that's what Muni had at the time. 1063 was another slightly off paint
It's
scheme.
4:45.
It was in Baltimore yellow. The Baltimore color is actually darker. 1055, the Philadelphia car is behind it. This is at Taraval and 22nd Avenue during burn-in testing. The first 3 accepted cars were 1055, 1060, and 1062. 1062 was in Louisville Railway Company colors. Now, Louisville ordered 25 PCCs, but never ran them. Later, when many years later, when Muni did a midlife rebuild of all these ex-Philadelphia cars, it returned in Pittsburgh Railway colors, which you'll see in part 2 when that happens, I guess in July. 1050 is being pushed by work motor C1, which is using a diesel generator on board. It's part of its flatbed for propulsion, and the reason for that is the wires had not been energized yet. But this is taken in July 1995, and they're testing out the track to see if there are any problems. 1052, Los Angeles Railway, 1937. These colors never were on LA's all-electric PCCs, but were on the Air Electrics. This is about a week before the F line opened. We were doing simulated service, and so the line was about to open. Okay, now we come to opening day. You have to forgive me, but this is a picture that I had to take with an iPhone out of my book, San Francisco's F line. Sorry. Okay, it was opening day, September 1st, 1995. Here's some shots from September through December 1995, the first 4 months of operation. 1057, Cincinnati. These were perfectly accurate colors. 1056, Kansas City, again accurate colors. This is at Market and 10th Street. Here's looking down from Market and Sanchez toward Market and Church at the 1053, the Brooklyn car. And you can actually see all the way down to the ferry building from here. Now, this is a shot that I took from the Central Freeway which is a double deck structure, and everybody hated it. But it had these pockets on the right side of the roadway heading northward, where one could put your automobile into one of the pockets for if it broke down. So what I did was I borrowed someone's car, drove into one of these pockets, propped the hood up and started wringing my hands. Oh, what am I going to do now? And then the PCCs appeared and I took my shot, propped the hood down, worked my way back into traffic, and no one was the wiser. We've seen this picture again. 1040 was a non accessible car, but I used it for tripper service. There's a third market. Here's another view from the top of Twin Peaks using a 400mm lens, and down at the bottom you can see cars 1056 turning the corner at Noe Street and 1060 waiting its turn. And this is an October shot of 1834. That was Muni's first Milan car at Church and Market inbound. Here we have a J line Boeing LRV crossing outbound PCC 1050 and a trolley bus behind it. I was the first operator to take a non-PCC out on the F line. And ever since then, my nickname has been Milan Tram. Here we are again from 1834, a picture of 1057 taken with a fisheye lens. And here you can see the inscription in Italian, non parlate aggitatore, che non deve essere distratto dalla manovra. Hey, I can even say that. Anyway, 1057's heading inbound. Where am I? 1053 at Market in Laguna. They've already lopped off the top deck of the Embarcadero, the Central Freeway. The rest of it would come down in 2003. And night shot at 17th and Castro with 1834 and 1051. 1040 at Castro Street, followed by 1056. This is December 9th, 1995, the last ever Emporium department store Christmas parade. The car is 578S, built in 1896, and the creature here is the mascot for the San Francisco Spiders hockey team. 1007 was an interesting car, as you already saw it on a flatbed going to Mars and Knudsen for rebuilding. Here's what it looked like after return from Mars and Knudsen, in gray and silver Breda livery, not very popular, with a red maroon stripe at the bottom. Night shot of 1007 Castle Street. Here's Muni 1050. 1050 would later be repainted St. Louis public service colors. 1057. This is taken on September 3rd, 1995, 2 days after the F line opened. Occasionally, vintage cars were able to get out on the line. Here's B-type 130 Iron Monster approaching the Transbay Terminal on First and Market, 1996. Here's what the Pacific Electric car looked like originally. The colors were not quite right. Here are two of the torpedoes, 1007 on the left and 1015 Illinois Terminal on the right. 1834 and 1053 at Market and 4th. 1007 again at Castro. 1054 at 4th and Market. This car was wrecked in 2003 when while it was being tested for on the J private right of way. It was stopped and got slammed in the rear by a speeding LRV. So 1054, basically it's been scrapped. It's unfortunate. It was a very good running car. Here's the boat car at First and Mission, about to turn into the Transbay Terminal, 1996. Here is 1015, the Illinois Terminal car. This is on the Judah line, about I'd say 34th Avenue. Here's 1007 again at Church and Market in 1996, and here you can see the Breda, same colors passing behind it. The Breda, by the way, was built in Pistoia, Italia. Okay, 1007, after it came back from repainting, now a Philadelphia Suburban Transportation Company, Red Arrow Lines livery. It has also been repainted in a more accurate livery. 1015 at Market in Van Ness. In the background, you can see 1834. Here are the three torpedoes in order of going in service. 1007, Red Arrow, 1015, Illinois Terminal, and 1010, Muni 1939 blue and gold livery. Livery these cars never wore when they were new, but what it does is represents a car that was similar to it, built in 1939. Here we have 1834 Pacific Electric 1061 and New Orleans 952 in the background. Car 130 leaving Market and Castro, 17th Castro Terminal on a regular F-line run. 1051 at Market and Dolores. This is in Muni simplified livery. Here we have 1793. This was the first of the 10 Milan Ventotto that Muni got in 1998, first one to be operational and was used for training purposes. It's at Market de boats heading outbound. Notice that the Muni has not yet installed a front trolley pole on it. It'll come later. Here's now this is preview of coming attractions shot. This is Milan 1815, formerly Milan 1515. They're all renumbered in the 1800 series. Anyways, the Market, Noe, and 16th Street about to turn, and up above you see the U.S. Navy's Blue Angels acrobatic airplanes. Okay, here's a construction shot at
It's 5 o'clock.
Don Chi Way. About 1999. Still had a few months to go before service would begin on the Fisherman's Wharf extension. Looking north along the Embarcadero from the ferry building around 1998. This is the first day of F-line service to Fisherman's Wharf, March 4th, 2000. So that's car 1063. And 1063 again at the wharf. Car 1 on March 10th, 2000, just after the opening of the F-line extension. And this is 1793, followed by Chicago 1058 at Don Chi Way, basically the ferry building. March, I'd like to say this is about March 25th. So let's see what. Here's 1834, heading inbound at Sansom Street, outbound at Beach and Stockton Street. Okay, here's 1515, approaching Pier 39. This is a March 25th, 2000. Okay, here's a preview of coming attractions for Ventotto at Fisherman's Wharf, Jones and Beach Terminal, led by Yellow and White 1811. Taken in 2005. And looks like we are going to maybe conclude with this shot of PCC 1006. This is a rebuilt shot taken in 2014, and the matching cruise ships of the Norwegian line. The Norwegian Pearl is closest to the camera, and the Norwegian Jewel is the other cruise ship. And I think that is going to be it. So let me scroll back to the last slide, where I announced the upcoming almost there. Oh, this shot, 1061, repainted in more accurate colors. Oh, and then I also wanted to re-show the transitional a shot of 1007 before it became a red arrow color. Where is that slide? Anyway, so that's it for this show. I apologize for the rather the strange order in which the slides were presented, but I think I know why it happened, and that was because I set it up to by date instead of by ascending number, but that will be changed for the next show. And I want to thank you all for coming out and having, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you.